What's up, guys? How we doing? Tuesday night hangout, and I'm only, well, depending on your clock, I guess I'm right on time. So Camden Steel, if anybody bets you, then you owe them $100, I suppose. If not, then, what is it? I guess it just turned a minute for me. So anyway, we're close. We're right there. So great to be here Tuesday night. Let me know where you're listening from, and obviously, give you a shout out. But Weedosaurus, let's go. Hey, look at that. Became a member. Let's Run It tier. Shout out to you. Prolific, Kramer, as I mentioned. And Camden Steel, of course. Cheesesteak 22. It's the Eye of the Tiger. There you go. Cool Rains, appreciate it. Yes, family's doing well. It's let's just say busy the last few days. So, but it's all good. Had to get on here, talk about what's going on with James Bradberry, the OTAs in general, because week 2 has started, and it's crazy that we have made it to week 2. Next week is the involuntary, or I guess we say mandatory, however you want to phrase it, the OTA session. So if James Bradberry is not there, then we really have an interesting situation, but it's kind of already there to begin with. But yes, I mean, this was the second week, last week, I guess, of the voluntary OTAs, and then we'll have that next week. So we'll see. Tequila, what's up? How's it going? Joseph Brewster, let's see, should get into those YouTube collabs with Scooter Magruder. That would actually be fun. I would enjoy that. Maybe we'll make that happen. Again, June is going to be a little bit slow, to say the least. So whatever we need to do to kind of help that go by, we'll probably look at a few more collabs, that's for sure. LA Kid 17, what's going on? Albert Pastrana says, good evening, brother. Good evening. How's it going? Delaware, Source. Listen in from Delaware. There you go. Philly for cheesesteak. Inglewood, Colorado from Western Trejo. There you go. Vegas, baby. Carson VR. Tracy Ann, how's it going? Mikey Rocks. Good to see you too. Or, see you on the stream. Eagles for Life 23. What's up? Albert Pastrana just became a member. Heck yeah. Welcome to Let's Run It. 200s. Salute Josh. Salute to you. NICK 86 tuning in from Guam. Go Birds. Go Birds. Ernest in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There you go. IBH, what's up? Fitness Warrior, good evening, Josh. Were you stuck in traffic because of the Mavs game? Actually, no, believe it or not. It was just a busy day, and but we're here. So, such is life with 2 kids. So, Deion Soldier was shaking, Josh. Per King, baby, what's up? Chi-Town, go Birds. Rick Williams. YTS, I think. My boy, what's up, boss man? How's it going? We're doing well. Again, I appreciate you guys. Camden's asking about if I had a good Memorial Day. It was good hanging out with family. Hopefully everybody did as well. Again, shout out to the veterans and obviously the remembering those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. So, I however you think on that, I mean, never a bad moment to be able to thank veterans, current service members, everything else. But yes, remembering those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Had a great time spending time with family. So we're just, hopping back on here. Philly Firefly, good evening, Josh. Delco shout out. There you go. How's everybody feeling with OTAs? I'm curious on that because, we've gotten glimpses. It's unfortunate, especially whenever, we're sitting there and we have every other team. It feels like if you go to Twitter, if you go to their YouTube, wherever really, and they've got endless amounts of content and videos and highlights and some even live streams of the OTA sessions, and we're having to piecemeal things together from one actual event and then just a little bit of inklings and rumors and things like that. So so far from what we've heard, it's interesting, it's promising. I'm curious because I believe, could be mistaken, I think Thursday is the next media session. It's either Thursday or Friday. I think it's Thursday session. So we'll see if we're able to, get anything else from it. I know, regardless, even if you see something from 7-on-7s, we all realize it's without pads, it's structure for the offense. They're usually going to look better. It's so early at this point, but still, I mean, you look at some of the reps that the guys are getting. So, Fitness Warrior says, can't wait for the collab with Anniah Smith. Yes, we're working on that as much as possible. If you guys haven't already, make sure to go check out his stuff, Sub-Zero Productions. Subscribe, and then, if you want to drop a comment for him and say, hey, go check out the Philly Special Show. I've reached out a few times. He's hearted some messages, but he hasn't responded. So, it's fair. He's busy, and it's understandable if he doesn't want to come on, but if he were to for an interview, that would be pretty sweet. Jason Duffy from Seattle. Go Birds. Originally Delco. There you go. Jay Hoffa, Philly in the building. Real Birds fan and my local team. Let's see. Deke do you think Bradberry, I guess, what do you think about the Bradberry situation? Is on the active roster. He is on the active roster. Frank Williams, what's good, man? He is on the active roster, but I can't imagine he's going to be there for long. That's my personal belief. So I don't know. That's where I'm at. It's we've talked about it a number of times, but you look at the guys on the roster, you see the guys in the depth chart, who you've signed, the additions, obviously the draft picks. There's only so much that he can go with. And then the fact that, like, James Bradberry is not showing up, I mean, I don't know. If it was me, again, it's voluntary OTAs. So you kind of wrestle with how much do you make a big deal out of this, right? But at the same time, it's not like JB is unaware of his possible standing with the Eagles and the fact that, hey, you just got a lot of other guys in the secondary. So, if you were maybe going to try to compete for your job, it feels like you might show up and say, let's go and put in a little bit of work, right? Let's go to OTAs. Let's get even. And I know it's, again, 7-on-7s. It's voluntary. It's not a huge deal, but it's just to show face and be relevant. I don't know. Slay's there. Lots of other guys on the defense are there. To the credit, though, I mean, Sweat wasn't there for the one media session. Neither was Lane Johnson, Jake Elliott. So there's other veterans that didn't show up. Keely Ringo, surprisingly, did not either for the one session. But still, it's just kind of one of those that's a little bit interesting. CMV Eagles, I appreciate that. Just have to take a moment to respect how consistently you do this. Truly makes you one of the greater Eagles channels. Well, I appreciate it. Honestly, it's just a blast to hang out. So as much as I can, you guys know, Tuesday night hangouts, Friday night hangouts. By the way, we do have another giveaway, as we typically do on this program, the A.J. Brown jersey. So if you haven't gotten in on that, go back to the last video. It's the hour long. We topped the hour mark. Granted, it was a partial interview, obviously, with Anthony DeBona. Shout out to him, Pro Football Network. But what we officially did it. I think that was the longest video that we've ever done, but it's over 1 hour. And we got it there. But if you have not, go to that video, click it, type in AJ in the comments section. And this Friday, we're going to do a Friday night hangout, as we always do, and draw for an A.J. Brown jersey. So, also, one other thing before, because I see a couple comments and a super chat, so I'll get to that. If you were holding out hope, or you were watching last Friday when we gave away the 2 Eagles tickets, anyone who subscribed has a chance to win those, obviously, if they commented. So, Doug Simmons, who won those, good news for everybody else, but he has not actually commented back. I have reached out a number of times. He does technically have to the week point, so, that'll be Friday's show. But if he has not actually reached out by that point, then whoever's on the show, because I'm not going to do another, delayed giveaway. It'll be whoever's present during the live stream. So just stay tuned, because Friday night hangout may get a little bit more interesting. We have 2 Eagles tickets to any regular season game of your choice to give away. So, potential good news there. Joseph from University City, Philly there. Heck yeah. Cole's Griffey's, I believe. Yo, Josh, love the show. Appreciate that. Donald Roan, live from Philly. Yes, bro, how was the storm in your neck of the woods? It was crazy. It was lots of damage and hail and everything else, and prayers out to, it's about like 30 minutes north of here. I think 7 people actually died, and I think there was like almost 100 people that got injured. So prayers out to those guys. I can't even imagine. It's been a brutal, it's crazy, because usually by now it's like, the dead of summer, but it's been a crazy, severe weather season, I suppose. But there you go. Okay, Fitness Warrior. I was gonna say, okay, I had heard or thought I saw, but official 12:50 media session Thursday, so it is official. UK Birds fan, go Birds. Lar Powell says, hey now. Tequila says, we'll get him for you, Josh. Please, yes, thank you. If you guys can, that would be awesome. If we get Anniah Smith. Kramer, the roster challenge, it's, I know, I've been delayed. I'm going to be honest. It is something that is in the works, but I didn't really make much progress over the past week. So it's on the to-do list. I apologize. It's been a busier week with family and everything else. So it should happen. MJS says June 1st is right around the corner. That's another thing with Bradberry. So, for what that's worth. First super chat, though. Get into it here. Shaq A, appreciate the 5, man. Said, listening from South Philly, I can't wait till we light up the league. I would love to see Smith in OTAs. He's my pick for wide receiver 3. Let's go. He is mine as well. I think everybody that, watches fairly consistently even knows that. But yes, he's a weapon. He's getting, I guess, recovering or rehabbing from the fractured shin. It's awesome to see. Again, you don't get much of a behind the scenes, especially because we talk about the Eagles channel. They don't give us much to go off of. So it's great that Anniah Smith is vlogging and he's giving all these other looks from it. But then also you compare that with his attitude, his ability, what he brings to the table, and the fact that he's a hard worker too, as opposed to, some other wide receiver 3s that we've seen in the past. And I think he's perfect. I love the chance or the possibility of you add him into this offense as a wide receiver 3. So I'm right there with you. I understand Parris Campbell. I'll say this too, because everybody I think realizes it, but if Parris Campbell wins the wide receiver 3 job, it won't surprise me. However, long-term and more dynamic addition to the offense is Anniah Smith. Now, does that become at some point later this season? Does it become next season? Could it even be, beginning this year? Possibly, but just because he's more of a favorite, it may not necessarily happen. So we will see. Ernest, that's a good question. Says, do you think there's so little coming out of OTAs because it's putting in new systems? Possibly. Although, the Eagles kind of just do this. There's not as much content that because you're not going to give away anything and they did, to their credit. There was a Jalen Hurts throwing to, I think, AJ, a little quick brief video that came out, like a 10-second clip. Nothing's being given away from that. He takes the snap, drops back, throws it to AJ. Just give us that. It's not giving anything away, but just a little bit of clips of, hey, here's someone throwing a football. Hey, here's someone, backpedaling on the defense. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit to, talk about. And because we are starving here, right? This is May. We're almost through May, which is crazy, but something, anything. Shaq says, why is our media so bad? She said, you might not be too far off. Tuesday night, avoid the diapers, Eagles hangout. That's shout out to my wife. She is the MVP for sure. It's always great when the Dallas Philly goat is here. Appreciate that, Devontae. MJS is also still saying that he'll get cut on the 1st, sending a message. Who has the 2 and 6 sports podcast? Who has the better Eagles career, Trotter Jr. and Nakobe Dean? I'm going to feel like, and again, I'm getting to these a little bit later, but I'm feeling like most people are going to say Trotter Jr. There's Shaq A, there's Joseph. Chris says, good show. Appreciate that. Albert says, I hope Doug is healthy and well, just hasn't had a chance to respond, not due to a health or family emergency. So, let's see. I'm going to get to a couple of these too. Let's see. Adam Hughes, fan across the pond. Making the trip over in September. Can't wait to experience the link in person. Let's go. Which game? Let me know. Adam, comment back. I'm curious. Which game in September are we talking about? Is that the home opener? Or which one? I'm not looking at the schedule, but I'm just assuming September home opener. William H. Promising is probably best we can do with limited OTA access. We have outstanding talent among the players and new coaching staff. Going to be slow June for sure. Hope you enjoyed the long weekend. I appreciate it. Yes, we did enjoy it, but we are getting to the point where it is slowing down, and it will even more so be that point. Big Farce Jones, thank you for your channel. You roll, bro. Man, that's a interesting username. I appreciate that. I do appreciate it, but that's one of those. Dankberg game, yeah. I mean, monotonous talking about the team. It kind of is, but what else? What else do we talk about? Right? It's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of hypotheticals. It's schedule predictions. Little small glimpses, like I say, of players. AJ Brown posted to his Instagram story. Looks like he's in crazy, ridiculous shape. That's awesome. Not a huge surprise because AJ's already committed, but it was kind of cool because he said, "Hey, I'm taking a step back from social media. I'm not going out and doing anything." He hadn't really as much before, but he said it's almost every single day, getting a workout in, trying to stay in shape, pushing myself to the limits, getting to that next level. So he's totally committed. And, again, we're just in May, so we have forever to go. But he's doing all the right things. Justin, what's up, bro? Appreciate the 5. Says, watching from Lapeer. I believe I said that correctly, hopefully. I genuinely think Bradberry will be on the roster until next offseason. But him starting is a different story. We would have to agree to disagree on that one. I know that you're not the only one, though. So, some people believe that he will. If he's on the roster until next offseason, though, the thing is, he's still going to cost, I think it's, what is it? Is it $3 million? If he's a next offseason cut or he doesn't make the team or whatever, I think it's still like $3 million in dead money. So it's either you cut him post June 1st here in a couple days, and it's a $4 million in dead money, or you keep him on the roster and then you wait for next season. I get it. It's not the worst thing, I suppose, if you want to have depth and keep him on the roster because he's 2 years removed or 1 year removed, however you look at it, from an all-pro season. But like we've said so many times, I mean, there's so much depth, I suppose, right? Like you talk about Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, he made a statement at camp. Yes, temper it with 7-on-7s. I know it wasn't pads on. But still, all the reporters watching at it, getting glimpses of him, he made an impression. Reuben Frank said that. John McMullen said that. I believe Andrew DeCecco listed him as one of those. Several guys were very impressed with Isaiah Rodgers from the 7-on-7. So to show that there was not much rust, if any, noticeable from there, we'll see if that trickles down into training camp and preseason, all of that. But Isaiah Rodgers could be pushing for a starting position. I don't think that's anywhere far off to say. But you never know. Joseph says, Googling Cowboys news shows a UDFA running back is the third article. Right, so that's how their offseason's going. It's so much better. Gentlemen of culture, under or over 8 sacks for Nolan Smith. Man, that is a tempting... You know what you're doing by asking that question. You're just asking for me to say over 8. I don't know. I am very hopeful for Nolan Smith. I still think that he's going to be good. 8 sacks, though, that's a little... I don't know. If I was going to set the line personally, I'd probably say over under 6.5. I know it's not drastically different, but I would say 6.5 sacks. You think he's going to get, right in that range? Because I'm probably, based on the over under of 8, going to say under. And I know that's against what I say most of the time about Nolan Smith. But I don't know. I just don't want to go overboard with it and say last season I thought that he would get 5, and obviously that didn't happen. He should have played more. I think most people agree with that. He will get a lot more snaps, and I think that he's going to take that next step. But man, over under 8 sacks. We talking about a push at 8, maybe 9 sacks. I can't quite go there for Nolan. Because he's also probably, unless something crazy happens, he's not even starting. He's going to be a rotational player. Now, he should be good, but I would say I'm probably somewhere in that 6 sack range. Maybe he can get up there and have 7 possibly. But because he'll most likely be situational playing because of that rotation, yeah, it pains me to say it, but I would have to take the under on that 8. D-Block says, I'm all in for Isaiah Rodgers being an impact piece. Let's freaking go. There it is. There's a question, a comment. It always happens every single stream. Joshua Stewart, good first name, by the way, says, that's a cool Eagles light on the back wall. Where can I buy that? Appreciate it. It is in the link in the description. as I say every single time, it is very expensive. It's a lot more expensive than whenever I first purchased it. I'm sure that has to do with them getting a lot more people to buy it recently. But I put it in their description because everyone's always interested, and feel free to go get it. It's a legit sign. I mean, it's quality and everything else. So, I'm gonna give one away in the future. So if you don't feel like spending whatever it's up to, I think it's like maybe pushing $500 now. It's crazy, but we will be giving another one away. Yeah, Wittisaur says, I love how you mentioned how expensive it is. Yes, because because everyone's like, oh my gosh, you paid that much for it. It literally, like, it was less than half of what it is now. So I hate for someone to get, it's legit. I love it. But if it was the price that it is now, I don't know that I would have gone out and gotten it. Dylan, what's up, man? Says, how's the family doing? They are doing well. Busy time of life, busy season of life, but we are doing well. Says, just curious what your predictions are for Huff in this young, newish D-line. Good question. I think he's going to be good because, well, for one, he's Agent Zero. So you have to be good. If you're going to wear 0, you got to show up. I missed, by the way, Antoine Goray, I believe is how I say that, watching from Mexico City. Go Birds. But back to Bryce Huff. It really comes down to if he can continue to play consistently, because he's got all the tools and he had the pressures, and yes, it was rotational pass rush, but if he can be that, not an every down, so to speak, but he's going to play more time with Vic Fangio, because Fangio doesn't like to do as much of a rotation. I think he will, because it's kind of the Eagles' way, and I'm sure that Howie and him have had conversations of like, all right, you got some of these guys here, you can implement, you can use them. You want to see Nolan on the field, so that might happen. But yeah, I think so. I'm very hopeful. I will say that. If I had to do so actually going back to a question of Nolan Smith, the over-under 8 is probably a little high. If I did over-under for Bryce Huff, though, I probably would set that at, I don't know, I'd probably set the over-under for Bryce Huff at 9.5. Is that too high? What are people going? If the over-under is 9.5 for Bryce Huff, you taking the over, you taking the under? I'm curious. Let me know. Let me get to this other super chat too. Shaq A, appreciate 5. Said, saw this on a different channel, but it caught my eye. Do we bring Miles Sanders back home to back up Saquon? Very cheap, underrated depth option. No. I may be one of those that's more of the definitely not really in favor of Miles Sanders, but it's one of those where I don't know. I think that, he was fine whenever he's here. He ran behind the offensive line. It helps a lot of different running backs, but to me, I don't think so. You have Saquon Barkley, which is fine. Will Shipley, I'm interested in. I'm more intrigued, I guess, as time goes on. But you've got him, and then you've got, Kenny Gainwell, so you can say that wherever you wanted at. But probably not. I don't know. I guess you could still say depend on where it's going to, how much it may, I don't know, how much it may cost you or where that would look like. But ultimately, probably no. Kramer says Josh equals Oprah, always giving stuff away. We just sort of sell it and sell it for $800. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's going up in value, that's for sure. It's taking more. Albert was saying, yeah, get the, what was that? They should sponsor your show and shell out some nice gifts. That would be great if they did give some discounts and sponsor the show. I've tried to. Jordan didn't log on to listen to you read the comments. Well, it's a live Q&A, but I mean, like, what do you want to talk about? We've been talking about James Bradberry. We've been talking about other stuff. So, I mean, I appreciate it, but what do you want to talk about? Brett Baker, Rutland, Vermont tonight. Go Birds. Thank you. Justin asking, how many sacks do you think the D-line is going to get? I think it's going to be 55 to 65, hopefully more than this year. I don't know. I would fall probably around the I like the 55 to 65. I might be more in like the 50 range. I hope that they prove me wrong, but maybe in the 50 range. The 70 is ridiculous. It's not impossible because, we've seen it, but feels like 50 could be really solid. You got a better secondary, should be able to help the D-line. Hopefully guys are in better shape. But there's some guys that, they need to prove themselves, and you got some question marks on that. So like a cautiously optimistic 50 is about where I'd go. Marty's going over. I got a lot of people here too. Josh Stewart going with the over, by the way, for Bryce Huff. Elbert says I need all starters on the D-line to get 10 sacks each. That would make a huge difference. Bro, if okay, so who are we talking about there? Like Bryce Huff, I could see it, sure. Josh Sweat, fine. Like, I think he could do it, sure. He needs to bounce back, but he could do it. Jalen Carter is the one. I think Jalen Carter out of all of them is the most that I'd be like, yep, absolutely. Now I know that he only got the 6.5 or wherever he ended, but he has the ability and the talent and all that. So the 10, okay, fine. But if we're talking about the starters, like who else are we going with on that? Is that like a Jordan Davis getting the sacks of 10 each? Because I mean, my gosh, that is. You're destroying every single team if Jordan Davis is coming away with 10 sacks, because that means he is pass rush as well as taking care of the run. Tracy ends also with the over. Let's see. Harry Montoya, appreciate the 5, says, who are you most excited for? Top 3 players. That's a good question. Most excited for? I will go with... I mean, it's kind of easy to take some of the guys that are still currently here. So it's probably a mixture because, all right, I'll say first off, Jalen Carter. I'm super excited for. Maybe that's an easy one or a cop-out or whatever you want to call it. I'm super excited for Jalen Carter because he's starting. He's talked about his conditioning, taking his game to the next level. I mean, heck, you saw him as a rookie. He demanded a double team. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't remember the exact stats and Zack percentage, but he demanded a double team. As a rookie, now he's going to be starting second year, being more comfortable. He's a game wrecker, and it's not even close. So I'd say Jalen Carter, I'm really excited to see how he takes his game to the next level, if he can prove that week in and week out and not have a rookie wall. So for sure, I'll go with Jalen Carter for one. The other one, I'm really excited for Quinyon Mitchell. I think and hope he should start. Will he with Fangio? I don't know. But the fact that, what we saw from the secondary and what Quinyon Mitchell can and should be, he's being mentored by Slay. Slay talked about being impressed with his game. He's got a lot of things, especially with off-ball coverage and, how he breaks on the ball. So I think Quinyon, he could have a really good season. He's going to be tested too. So it's like, I guess the potential for the season that he could have is going to be very high, but it's also, we could have some games where we're sitting there going like, oh my gosh, did not really work out very well. Because if I would imagine if you're any team that's going up against the Eagles, you're going to say, hey, there's a rookie, assuming he's starting, but there's a rookie. Let's test him. Let's see if he, bites on a double move. Let's see if we test him by running different routes, moving different guys on him, using motion, things like that. So, but I am excited because it should be a change. It should be an adjustment. The defense getting younger, and if and when, like we expect him to be the corner that he should be, then it just helps this defense, obviously, as we know, for like forever because of the longevity and the fact that you kind of turn this over in the sense of becoming a young defense. The secondary is polished. Cooper Dejean, I'm excited for too, but I don't know if I put top 3 yet, just because I'm curious of where he plays and how he plays, or if he's just kind of that versatile fill-in as you need him. But yeah, I would say Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell. Third one, man, it's hard. If you're limited to 3, that's making it difficult. Let me go. I'll go with someone on the defense or offense because I picked 2 on the defense. Let's go with. Again, this is maybe neat. I probably Saquon. Yeah, if you're just talking about the offense and what you can possibly see, you've got a running back behind this offensive line. We saw what DeAndre Swift did, and you're going to add Saquon Barkley to that? Sure. Go with Saquon. I am excited to see Jalen Hurts too. I could 3 is really unfair. I could give you 10 that I'm very excited and interested to see because the new offense, the new defense, how guys are going to be. We'll see. Elbert says add 5 sacks each from the linebackers, and that would get us back to the magic 70 plus. Yes, that's a very easy way to do it if that's what we're talking about. But realistically, is that going to happen? Camden's still saying the fact that people say cheap option, yeah, when they make millions. It's all relative. Some Black Ninja, yeah. You get a jersey, you get Eagles tickets, you get Eagles tickets. That's the goal. We're trying to, try to give away as many as possible. So appreciate it, Dylan. Spinning and winning, Josh. I'm late. I always enjoy your live streams. I appreciate that. Again, as you're just joining, and I mentioned earlier, so far, Doug Simmons, the person who had won the 2 Eagles tickets to any game of his choice, has not responded, which means if this Friday he does not get back to us, then anyone on the live stream, because we'll do it live, will have a chance. It'll probably be some form of trivia is my guess or thought of how I'm going to do that, and I'll throw out a question, and first one to answer will get those tickets. That's at least how I'm envisioning. We'll see how it plays out, but that's what we'll go for. Trent, what's up, dude? Says, how are you and the fam? I'm so hyped for this season, baby. I am too, and we're doing well. Appreciate it. How you doing? You all right? You were all recovered from the injury, right? I know you had the injury, but that was a while back. Oh, also, Trent said AJ, Saquon, and Mitchell. Also Dejean, though. See, that's the thing is it's almost impossible. If you say 3 people, there's too many of those on there. Elver says, I agree. Milton 5, that is 50 right there. We'll see. Hi, bro is asking, which corners would you choose to cut and who are you keeping? Yeah, we've had this question a couple different times. Here, I'll pull up the depth chart as always. Just so we can have a little visual reference. All right, let's see here. There you go. Okay, so if we're talking about corners and who we're keeping here, the givens are obviously Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper Dejean. Those are 3 for sure. Keely Ringo is another one, 4. Isaiah Rodgers is 5. And I really believe that Eli Ricks is a 6th. And then, I mean, honestly, you're talking about probably taking whoever your other slot corner is. And the fact that Avonte Maddox, very early, but he was getting reps at starting slot and then second and third string safety. So it looks like possibility of some versatility within Fangio's defense. So, I mean, that right there would be 7. Maybe it's Tyler Hall. You like what you've seen from him or the limited on that side. Could be him, but it leaves out Josh Jobe, leaves out Bradberry, leaves out Zack McPherson, Goodrich, obviously, Sean Stevens, very late signing in rookie minicamp. He's got some ability. He'll have a chance to prove himself, but I don't know. It feels like you're only going to keep 7, and if those are your 7 guys, then it's kind of an automatic. Those are who I would go with, and then it leaves, like I said, those several names that I mentioned as guys who are getting cut. I've seen people go back and forth. Again, I understand. Like, some people saying Eli Ricks is going to get cut. Some people going with Avonte Maddox doesn't have a chance. I get it. He's been injured all the time. He can't stay healthy. So who knows? Cheesesteak, don't you normally expect your first rounders to start? Regarding Mitchell, it's a luxury, or you drafted poorly if your first rounder sits. That's what I agree. That's the way I feel, but sometimes you got teams or coaches who you expect them to, and then all of a sudden you go into camp or whatever, and a guy surprises. That's the thing of Isaiah Rodgers. Like, I do believe and want Quinyon Mitchell to start, but Isaiah Rodgers has played at a very high level, removed from the 1-year suspension, so he might have some rust. But if not, if he returns to form. Like, I don't know. Is Quinyon win that battle? Or do they say, okay, it's going to be Isaiah Rodgers, but Quinyon, you're right there. As soon as, any injury, anything happens at all, we'll probably put you in a couple packages, but we've got just the depth on that side. I don't know. Fitness Warrior, I can give you 22 players. Yeah, not even 3. 22 players. 2 and 6 Sports says Quinyon and Cooper DeJean combined interceptions over under 6. Interesting. 6 interceptions between the two of them. That's Joseph saying over. I would think so. Weedosaurus, can't wait for my tickets, especially if it's trivia based. Okay, I like the confidence. I got to think up a good one too. So, assuming that Doug does not get back to me. Jaleel, I want that Eagles light that you have in the back. All right. Hey, like I said, there's going to be another giveaway eventually. Or if you want to spend an arm and a leg, there's a link in the description. So, it's up to you. YTS, way too early predictions. Who do you think will be in the NFC Championship and AFC Championship? Well, of course, it's going to be the Eagles in the NFC Championship. I'm going to say the Eagles and Packers. I know that's week 1 matchup, but I think it'll be a rematch. Eagles, Packers at the link. And then I'll get to go, right? Because I was going to go for the week 1 matchup. I guess whenever we played the Packers, I didn't think it was going to be week 1. But yes, then we'll actually get to go. My wife will get to go. We'll take the trip to Philly and watch the NFC Championship game with the Eagles and the Packers, where they beat the Pack. That's my prediction. The NFC Championship there. AFC, probably got to go with the Chiefs and I don't know, kind of go back and forth. Chiefs and maybe maybe Baltimore, or is that just kind of, I don't know, them playing again on that side? But with Lamar and Derrick Henry, like there's possibility. They did get poached though, losing a lot of the players, coaching staff. I don't know. Be interesting to see where the AFC goes. Good, Trent. Awesome. Good to hear. See, the leg is great. Okay, back out with the football team, running plays and working out. 6'4", 220, working hard. Let's go, bro. Love to hear it. Dre Diesel Stevens was signed to a multi-year deal, wasn't he? I believe so. I believe his was like a 2 or 3. I think so. Or did I make that up? Let's see. Or did you make that up and then I agree with it? I think it was 3. Was it? Let's see. Sean Stevens. Yeah, looks like 3-year, 2.8. With a cap hit of 795, I believe. So there you go. But again, it's not obviously, as we all know, it's not a guarantee. But he does have multiple years there, so you got to think that they like the potential of him. And you see where that goes. Weedosaurus, potential of giving Zack another chance, true, but with the Achilles injury and coming back from that, I think it's just going to be hard for him to make the roster. So Black Ninja, would anyone bite in a trade involving Bradberry or Maddox? I can't imagine that they would. Agree with Fitness Warrior, they're not going to cut Ringo. Yep, especially with the draft. CMV, any idea who's punt returner, Rodgers or Dejean? So far, the punt returners, Anniah Smith was watching, and then Cooper DeJean was back there along with, who was that? Was it Isaiah Rodgers? I think it might have only been Cooper DeJean and Britton Covey. I'm sure the chat can confirm that actually a lot quicker than I can find. Yeah, Camden Smith's channel, Sub-Zero Productions. I see Harry mentioned Sub-Zero something, but Sub-Zero Productions, and exactly like he spelled the Sub-Zero. So it's sub-zero with the O being the number 0 in the productions. Donnie 4, what's up? How's it going? Bird Gang over under 4.5 interceptions for Mitchell and Dejean are better odds. That's probably, yeah, I agree. LA Kid, Josh, where'd you get this shirt again? This was off of Fanatics, so I don't know if they're still carrying it. It seems like half of the shirts that that I get, they have them there for a little while and then they're no longer available. But off of just the Eagles Fanatics Pro Shop. Laura Powell asking if Covey has a chance to make the team. I would say so. I know that he's just a punt returner, and what does he bring to the table as far as a receiver? I don't know. The fact that Devontae Parker retired, John Ross was signed, but I don't know if he's going to make the team. I really don't. Yes, you have other punt return options on the team. Just seems like Sirianni really likes Covey. He's brought a lot to the table. Michael Clay really likes Covey, so... personally, I would say yes. I do understand a lot of people are saying, like, nope, he shouldn't. You have other guys that can do that. They can play multiple positions. You have versatility. Don't take up the roster spot. But just what I think the Eagles will do and what I think Nick Sirianni's going to do, I would say Britton Covey makes the roster. Elbert, watch all the Madden simulation games. The Eagles have won all of them so far. There you go. Yes, CMV. Eagles, Packers, NFC Championship would be awkward regardless of who wins. Yes, because either I'll be happy or my wife is, if the Packers win, she'll be. But she also would be kind of like, I doubt that she would, rub it in or anything. It would just be one of those where, like, man, like took a trip to Philly, got to see a good game, probably, hopefully. But then, yeah, depending on who wins. Hawk has the Texans. That's a good pick, actually, AFC-wise. I could see that. Trent also, Texans with the AFC. YTS, do you think CJ will have another interception frenzy year, or will it be less because of all the good corners? That's a great question, actually. I doubt that it'll be to the extent of what he had previously, but I could see him with like 3, maybe 4. Kind of where I'm going with. Renzo, if Eagles finish top 5 in defense, where do they finish this season? If Eagles are top 5 in defense, my gosh, we are like, 14-3. I think it's a phenomenal season. If we're top 5 defense, because the offense should be, even though there's maybe a little bit of growing pains, like we talked about, you adjust early on. The defense... Because even if the defense is just kind of, like a little bit better than average, if it's like a top 15 defense, I think that's really solid. Jay Powell believes Packers overrated after the playoff run. Maybe so. Let's see. Z4 says, what are some things that could stop the Eagles from winning the NFC? You got to look at all sides. Injuries, obviously, I think the first one that comes to mind. If you have injuries, that hurts any and every team. If the defense is struggling to stop any team, obviously, that's another one. I think a given. Because we have question marks, right? Like we've got linebackers that we're hoping, if Devin White doesn't play up to the level that he's capable of, and he still has... shows signs of the past 2 seasons instead of, prior to that with an all-pro year and a Pro Bowl year. If you do suffer injuries, or even if the pass rush doesn't live up to expectations. Let's say Bryce Huff is not able to even get close to filling the void for Hassan Reddick. And let's say Josh Sweat is not, he's about like last 6.5 sacks. You have a lackluster pass rush. You have linebackers who are not up to the level you hoped they were. Well, then, even with a secondary that hopefully plays up to par, you hopefully have the talent and ability, the safety plays better, you can only do so much. The D-line and the linebacker coverage, and all of a sudden, middle of the field's wide open again. We're having issues. So I would say those outside of the natural, immediate one for injuries, but hopefully not. Packers, I got Josh Jacobs. Does that help them? I don't know. That was an interesting one for me. especially the number that they paid. I'd take Stroud and bench him and bring back Foles. From Jared. Oh, I love that. Camden, I appreciate it. Just commented on Annias' channel. That's great. Love it. The more that he gets, hopefully he's going to do that. Daniel Sand, how's it going, man? Says, just answering the question, the title, they will certainly cut him. Bradberry, that is. Michael Duhan hopes that Bradberry gets traded. But Daniel say no one wants to take on his contract. That's what I'm in agreement of. I don't think after the year that he had, people are going to be willing to do that. But you never know. Sometimes people get crazy. And Howie's a genius. So if anybody can do it, if anybody could sell a team on James Bradberry, it is Howie Roseman. Let's be honest. He could possibly do it. Now, if it's a trade, still, you got to think it's, what, a 6th round pick? But the fact that, again, for those that are just joining or recapping, first day of the second week of OTAs, and the speculation was that James Bradberry was not in attendance, was not showing up. So it's yes, still voluntary, but I think it's something whenever you don't have a player who knows that he's borderline based on what he's heard and rumors and things like that. But to not show up, I think it says something. Jack, Josh, do you think the Birds have set up Sirianni to get replaced by Kellen Moore as head coach if they don't start off the season well? Yeah, this is one that, we talk about pretty much every stream, and I appreciate the question. I don't know if it's certainly not a full-blown, like, oh, hey, let's have Kellen Moore as the next head coach, but you do want to think ahead. So I think they would have a long, hard look if Sirianni is not doing well, if the Eagles are not doing well, we start off with a poor record, you do probably look at saying, well, let's have an interim. Let's have someone try to right the ship for the remainder of the season. And yeah, knowing what Kellen Moore, the knowledge he has, the ability with the offense, why not? There's some interest previously, so they brought him in this time now. I would think that, he would for sure be the front runner. If you're not doing well, you make a decision in the middle point of the season. It seems to reason. I know you could look at it and say, well, Fangio's got head coach experience, so maybe you put him as the interim, but I don't know. That would be possibly missing an opportunity. Let's just say that. Straight Eagles fan. I got the question there. Straight Eagles. CMV saying Bradberry for Noah Brown just makes too much sense. You also have the Kellen Moore connection. That's true. We've had that a couple times brought up. I think Anthony DeBono was the first one that I'd seen. But maybe if the Texans, because they have a plethora of receivers, they have so much depth there. So you take advantage of their surplus. They possibly have an interest in ours. If they want James Bradberry, it might happen. Maybe. Still would be surprising. Jay Sanchez, ML8. Not, a little. Yeah. Not terribly. Been going for about 45 minutes or so. I'm probably going to maybe cut it a little bit short just to help out with the wife and everything else. So, but we'll probably go for, 15-ish more minutes. So you still made it for a decent amount. Just recapping OTAs, second week of OTAs starting. James Bradberry, what's going to happen to him? Do you trade him? Do you cut him? Is he going to stay on the team? Do you expect that? You only keep 7 corners. So if you're keeping 7, I guess the other question to that is, which 7 are you keeping? Dub G, I'm late too, shaking my head. You still made it. For those that are just joining in, I'll just say it again, though. Like, Doug Simmons did not claim the tickets yet. So if it still hasn't taken place by Friday, then the Friday night stream, anybody who is on the stream live will have a chance to win the tickets. But it's going to be somebody actually live. We, the source, believes Bradberry is not going anywhere before the season starts. Okay. Although saying he could be gone by the deadline if the rookies show promise. That is another thought. Uncle 3 times Bradberry's number 1 water boy for the practice squad. It'd be an interesting, yeah. You think if you cut him, let's just say that if you cut him, there's no way that he clears. And first off, if he did, and then you'd say, hey, let's try to sign him to the practice squad. He's going, no, that ain't happening. Like I'll wait it out. Some team will claim him though, but I do understand that yes, there's some frustration with him. Charles Lawrence, what's up? Says good evening, family. How's it going? Philly 500 pounds. What it do? I'm not going to finish the rest of Jack's name, but saying Dallas sucks. I do agree with that. Oh, man. Nate, what's up? Not late. Just been quiet. All good. Try not to miss the streams. I appreciate that. Daniel asking, have you heard anything about Dejean yet? Not a whole lot, although, from a couple of the practices, he's been getting in work as the second team slot corner and then also the third team outside corner. So I think it tells you where Fangio is going to currently start, right? And none of the rookies were getting first team reps, understandably, very early. But it tells me that Dejean's going to have a legit chance to compete for that slot corner position. Like, that feels like the place. And he said, hey, that's where the Eagles are starting me. But it feels like that's what Fangio is saying is, okay, hey, let's look at you as a slot corner first with your physicality, ability to tackle, ability to cover, maybe to move you in some different positions. And then we'll see where that goes. Now, he also got some reps, like you say, with the outside corner. That feels like it's more of a depth addition. So if, you had some injuries, maybe he could be forced into that position. And then also getting some work at punt, a punt returner, which is notable because, Fangio did say, and I talked about it in one of the videos, Anthony had brought it up in the interview as well, but like Fangio doesn't typically do that. He does not prefer his players to play multiple positions unless they can handle it. And he said it before. He's like, most of the guys will be one position, focus on one position and master that. But if you have the high intelligence, the high football IQ, then you'll look at giving multiple positions. So the fact that Cooper Dejean, as a rookie, by the first media session OTA, which was like the third one total, is already getting reps at 3 different roles, 3 different positions, I think that's saying something. Maybe he's got a little bit of versatility. Charles just made it here celebrating your daughter's soon to high school graduation tomorrow. Congratulations. That is awesome. I always forget about that. It's like when you're in the school mode and the timing and everything else, but I totally forget that. That's right. That is the season that we're in, the graduations and everything else right now. But congratulations to her. Albert James Bradberry. Oh my gosh. Dub G saying, I hope we trade JB instead of taking the big cut, big loss and cutting him. Yes, I mean, $4 million in the dead money, but we'll see. Fitness Warrior asking Josh, do you think Jalen Hunt will have more snaps than Nolan Smith? What does everybody else think about that too? I am curious. Personally, I would argue or guess that it's going to be about the same. As sad as that is for some people, I know, but only having played 2 years on the D-line, and you have a few names there that are going to compete, have the depth, but I think Fangio is going to be a little bit patient. He likes the ability, he likes the talent that Jalen Hunt brings, but don't get him in there too quickly. Don't overwhelm him or anything like that. He could be a player, but I think early on it's going to be more so make some impact in the special teams game, and 5 snaps or something. Just rarely, occasionally, you insert him. I don't know. Don't love it, but we'll see. Kramer asking also with the... Daniel saying, yeah, Jalen doesn't think Jalen gets on the field much. Donnie Ford, no, I think Nolan Smith has more snaps. Joseph saying Nolan Smith will have more snaps. I totally agree. I think the question was more so, and I might not have phrased it correctly as well, that compared to Nolan's snaps last year, because this year is a no-brainer. I may have worded that incorrectly, but it's, do we think Jalen Hunt will have more snaps than Nolan Smith did his rookie year? Still, I would agree that Nolan Smith, even in his rookie year, the limited snaps that he got was was more or will be more. WG also said Avonte not losing that corner job if healthy. Tyler Hall is not 6'6". You might be thinking of Johnny Wilson, the receiver, I think. Maybe confuse those, but the corner is not 6'6". Charles saying Hunt will be our wild card. I am curious, yes. He's got a ton of ability. It's just how quickly he can pick it up. Yeah, Joseph saying I think it'll be the same. Jalen's coming in late in the season just like Nolan did. Could be one of those where, yeah, if he ends up picking up later in the year, maybe he's kind of provides that spark to the defense. Someone else who has not gotten a lot of snaps but is fresh, able to make an impact. Wouldn't really hit the rookie wall because, again, he wouldn't have played as much. We'll see. Interesting, like CMV says, Jalix Hunt was apparently Fangio's crush during the draft. So it could impact the snaps if he really wants to get him out there. Camden says, you think Lane or Jordan want Bradberry trade for a bag of Doritos? They need their food. They do eat a ridiculous amount. We did that short over the calories that they get in every single day, and they're fined for losing weight. Yeah, if they could, I don't think they'd ever admit that, but whatever it takes to get in the calories, I suppose. Oh, Gabe Hall. Okay, sorry. I was confused. I saw Tyler Hall. I was thinking, man, who is that? It's a different player. I was going with the corner whenever I saw that. But yes. Yeah, Gabe Hall would be interesting. I'm hopeful. Y'all know that. Obviously, Baylor. But yeah, what he brings to the team or his ability, potential to bring the team, for sure. 6'6". What is he? Like, I think he was what, 290? 285? Let's see. I know he was 6'6". Yeah, 6'6", 290-ish, somewhere around there. I really hope that he makes the team. It goes back and forth. You look at the roster predictions, and some people have him, some people don't. I think he can. He's got a lot of ability and, kind of underrated in terms of pass. I don't know how he slipped to where he did. And the fact that you're I guess, not even the drafted side, but the fact that a team did not. But again, there's usually always at least one of those as far as guys that just somehow, for some reason, teams are not as interested in, and they pay for it. So that'd be the hope. I think he could definitely carve out a small role. I don't know that I'd see him necessarily. He does have the tools. It wouldn't be impossible, but still, you think about Milton Williams, the impact he can make. Somebody said for the spicy nacho Doritos, we're going back to that. But yeah, I'm interested, and we're hoping to get Gabe Hall on for an interview one of these days because there's some. Let's say there's some connections that we have. So utilizing those Baylor connections might be able to get an interview. So we'll see. Stay tuned. But it's going to be a slow June. We're thinking of any and all content, anything to bring possible. So it might happen. Fitness Warrior, who do you think is a better NFL player, Tyler Hall or Eli Ricks? Oh, man, that's a good question. I know that it's a limited sample size, and I know that people have said there's some that are big believer in Eli Ricks. There's others that are kind of like, what has he really done? There's only a few plays. He had a good preseason, but in terms of regular season, I would still probably lean towards Eli Ricks just because I think that he has that other gear. I think that he's a gamer. I think that he has that competitive fire, especially when the lights come on. Not that Tyler Hall, he's been impressive. You look at his grading and what he can do on the field. You look at a little bit of his tape. I just think that there's something with Eli Ricks, that there's some potential there. Not that you always list it or say, well, if we were to cut one of them, who's more likely to potential? I don't know that either of them would, but who's more likely to maybe make it onto the practice squad? Probably Tyler Hall. Again, I don't see either of them doing that. If you were to cut them, I think they both get picked up. Somebody claims them. But overall, just the small sample size, and that Eli Ricks in his first year was having to manage some expectations of Desai, then you switch to Patricia. I just don't think he got a fair shake as far as what his rookie year was and how much of an impact. So that's where I would go with Eli Ricks at this point. Daniel sack predictions for Jalen Carter, 12. Yes, I agree. Anniah Smith will be a weapon. Parris Campbell likely getting the start. I still will say that. I agree. I'm not crazy, but or at least let's just say this. At least his job to lose. He's gonna get the first team reps. He's got the option. Apparently has a pretty good rapport already with Jalen Hurts, so that's a good thing too. You want to build that with your quarterback. But we'll see how it plays out. Because, at this point, you could even still argue Anniah Smith hasn't been able to get on the field. Still recovering from the fractured shin. Bird Game saying future is Mitchell, Ringo, Dejean, Sidney, and Blankenship with a question. As Lars says, help Josh out and hit the like button. Yes, if you haven't already, it helps the channel. We appreciate all the likes. I don't know, the future of maybe. I'm love all the Quinyon Mitchell, yes. Keely Ringo, I think, has a lot of ability. Cooper Dejean for sure. Sidney Brown, some people are sleeping on. It's interesting how quick you can all of a sudden forget about a player if you make it a signing or an acquisition or someone gets hurt. So yes, I agree with you there. Reed Blankenship, I've kind of gone back and forth on. I think that he's a good option with depth. Like if you have him as a backup, perfectly fine. Yes. Long term, is he the option as a starter with Sidney Brown? That's the part that I don't know. Because, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he could be there for, depending on how it works out, he could be here for another 3 or 4 years. I don't know. That's the one out of those. Got a lot of confidence in several of those guys, but that's maybe the one that I would list out of. They're not really sure. There you go. There's some sack predictions for Jalen Carter. We just Oris Carter getting 8 or more, but most likely less than 12. Justin excited by Campbell. Wanted him last year, but coming around to Smith. There you go. Bird Game says CJ starts then. I don't know. I would assume yes, but yeah. Don't let Reed play single high. That it is the beauty of where Reed could potentially be at. But as of right now, it feels like or looks like it could be a CJ Gardner-Johnson and I assume Reed Blankenship. That's going to be your starters. Maybe if Sidney Brown is healthy, I still don't see that him starting, but is he that depth option, providing the backup coming off of the ACL? The safety role is the one position. I know you have Andre Sam as a potential, Mekhi Garner, but there's just kind of some unknowns. You look at the depth of who that might be. Avonte Maddox was, like I said, getting some reps in OTAs, so maybe he has that versatility where Fangio says, yeah, we'll just kind of throw him in there and use him occasionally if we really needed to for whatever reason. But, the idea of Avonte Maddox being part of your depth for if someone gets injured is a little bit like just a little bit strange because I don't know if we're going to count on Avonte Maddox being healthy enough to go, oh, hey, let's move you over to safety because we had another safety get injured. Trent, appreciate it, man. Headed out to get some sleep. Yeah, I'm about to cut it here too. I know it's a little bit shorter than the usual live streams, but yeah, I got to jump off here. Couple more questions. We'll go with maybe 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to jump off. But any other questions, comments, topics? Again, reminder, Friday night live stream, Friday night hangout. We will give away the A.J. Brown jersey for sure. And potentially we'll also have 2 Eagles tickets if Doug does not claim them. And right now, Doug is playing with fire because I'm not kidding about, he had 1 week to claim them. And for some reason, he's not commented yet, which is surprising. I posted on the comments page or the community page. I also responded back to Doug directly and also posted it in the latest video. So I don't know. Maybe Doug is just, still recovering from the Memorial weekend, but he's running out of time. Let's just say that. YTS, do you think Dallas is still the biggest threat in the division? Probably, maybe. I mean, it's not New York, and the Commanders, I'm not really sure with the draft pick. Like, Jaden Daniels, they've got some players. They've added a few. The weapons that they have there, they do give us some difficulty, so maybe Washington. It's either Dallas or Washington, but probably still lean towards Dallas. Yeah, that's about where I'd go. Laura Powell, good point. Yes, Hungry Dogs Zoom call this Friday. Everybody at Hungry Dogs tier or higher on the membership. We were going to have the Zoom call. So keep an eye out on the community page. I'm going to post the link. Yes, Charles Lawrence, will you be doing Zoom on Friday? Yes. We will have the Zoom call. I'm going to post the link on the community page. So keep an eye out. I'll probably try to do that sooner rather than later so that everybody can actually have the link. But that'll most likely be... I'm trying to think. That'll most likely be a Zoom call on like around 6:30 Eastern, something like that. And then we'll do the live hangout after. So keep an eye out for it. I'll have the link to the community page just for Hungry Dogs tier and higher for the members there. But we will have the Zoom call. Last Friday of the month for all of those, again, for people that are not. But we'll see you guys there. So that'll be fun. Yeah, Joseph saying, I think Washington is dangerous. Albert saying Green Bay, San Francisco, and the Lions are the only threats to Philly this year. Probably. I mean, those feel like the majority of what you really have to ultimately worry about in the NFC. Although, let's be honest, like, if we could just please win against Dallas in Dallas, because we've had so many issues, and I'm like I said before in the last stream, 99% sure going to go there. So we'll be at that game. And last year, as everybody knows, was terrible. It was an awful experience to be there. I mean, it's, fun to try to go and see, but after almost immediately, we could just tell that it's like, all right, the same old story. We just haven't figured anything out. Just keep up the same old, same old. So hopefully we take advantage. We should win in Philly in week 17, but what is it, week 10, I think, for Dallas? Charles saying Philly is our biggest threat. Could be. Ourselves or the Philly media to try to break up this team. Joseph saying Atlanta. Atlanta's, don't sleep on Kirk, I suppose, if he's there. That's not, yes, Donnie Ford. If we could sweep Dallas, that would be sweet. That's even though, yes, I understand, even though Dallas is a mess right now, we just don't play well. We have not played well in Dallas. I like it. I like the confidence. Albert's calling. He's saying we're going 2-0 versus Dallas. They are a mess this year. I hope so. I like it. I had us losing to them. I will say that. In the schedule prediction, I have us losing to them in Dallas just because it's until we can prove it. I'm calling that one a loss, but who knows? Harry Montoya, let's go. Welcome to Hungry Dogs tier. Heck yeah. Congrats. And like I said just a second ago, the Zoom call, I will send out the link, so you will get that. The message probably Thursday, but it'll have the link and details and everything for that call this coming Friday. Let's go. Appreciate the support. Charles saying the team itself. That's fair. Yeah, with the new guys, the leadership, the change, a little bit of shift, right? A little bit of shift in the dynamic and culture. Harry said, didn't know this was a thing. Huge fan. Let's go. Usually have a great time with it too. So, and I love the emojis. Anytime you guys want to use those, but the Kelsey sexy Batman. And then immediately gets the I miss Jason. Davey asking Josh, is Jalen Hurts a hungry dog? Yes. Yep. Kramer, I guess my membership didn't stick or renew. Bummed. Well, if you rejoin back, it usually keeps it for the length of time. I'm like fairly certain that's the way it works. I've done it in the past, but not 100% sure. Jack is passing out. Go Birds. Appreciate it, Jack. But yes, Davey, to answer your question, Jalen is a hungry dog. He's got something to prove. I mean, I want to be. It's hard, almost impossible to float under the radar, to fly under the radar. It's certainly with the moves that Howie's made in the draft and all this other hype. So you can't really say that about the Eagles. But in terms of just Jalen Hurts himself, I'm kind of fine with, I disagree with the hate and the, Jalen's overrated and blah, 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 all this other stuff. But, I'm okay with the fact that if national narratives and media headlines and things like that want to, slight him a little bit, fine. You know what? Just prove him wrong. Let him fly under the radar. Prove him wrong. Remind them what happened the Super Bowl season. Played one of the best games that a quarterback has played in a Super Bowl. And proved a lot of people wrong until, as soon as there's a little bit of struggle or losing the Super Bowl itself, then it's like, oh yeah, well, Jalen did that. So it's ridiculous. Marty, yes, I did see the crazy video of women yelling at Jason and Kylie. That was... I mean, come on, people. Really? They have a life, and they're unbelievable in the community, in the videos, and everything else. But if you're going to ask for was it a picture? I think it's a picture. Ask for a picture, and they're on a date. They want a little bit of privacy. So if they say, hey, no, I appreciate it, but, we're on a date, whatever. We want some privacy. Just move on. And the fact that lady just wants to let Kylie hear it, and I don't know, poor Jason too, because he kind of looks like he's standing there what on earth is going on? You got to be kidding me. It's got to be difficult because you're such a celebrity, unbelievable member of the community and everything else, but you obviously can't go anywhere without being recognized. So yeah, if they want to have some privacy, just let them enjoy that. I don't know. Some people they're ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to lie. If I was there and I saw him, I probably would ask for a photo. But if I got the answer of, oh, no, hey, we're on it, I'd be like, all right, cool. Hey, no worries. All good. Totally get it. Albert asking how soon how soon does Micah Parsons or until Micah Parsons becomes an Eagle? I don't know. I can't imagine that surely Dallas is not going to really let that happen, but they are crazy, and so you think that it's possible, but I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. Let's see. Marty, yes, Kylie's so tall. Why? I don't know. Yeah, why would you? Why would you argue with her? Davey, do you think we have the cap space to make a big trade? We have the cap space. We have the cap space to make a move or make a trade if we want to. I don't know if a big trade is coming, though. And there's not really massive, acquisitions you could make out there. There's a possibility, I think, if you get later up close to the season and maybe there's an injury, maybe, a player's not performing up to expectations and you think that you have some holes there, you might feel it that way. But at this moment, I don't really know. Drew. Oh, let's go. Drew was just at the Dallas airport and we flipped off the Cowboys merch stores and bars. It's a bold move. That is a bold move, but I can appreciate repping the birds everywhere. Yeah, they're pretty proud of the pro shot. Let's just say that in the airport there. They're pretty proud of that one. Usually every time that I go to the airport, though, I'm trying to rep as much Eagles gear. I did that last time, especially for the trip to Philly. I'm wearing the A.J. Brown jersey and the Kelly Green hat and everything else there. But I actually got a few shout-outs. You know, there were some Eagles fans, so wasn't totally alone. All right, CMV. I'm gonna answer this last question. I do need to jump off. I gotta go help. So CMV question here. Hey Josh, if you could have 3 Eagles all time on the podcast, who would you choose and why is it Reggie White? I guess I don't get a choice of of Reggie White. Is Reggie White just one of them? I know all time, 3 Eagles. Gosh, that is there's these choices of being limited to only options here. Okay, so Dawkins would be on there. Brian Dawkins, without a question. Favorite Eagle all time is B-Dawk, so that's that's an automatic. I love his game, ability, all the other stuff, but also what he stands for. I mean, just his faith, his strength, being confident, being in who he is, and the impact that he makes, like outside of football in life, the leadership, all that stuff. So, yeah, Brian Dawkins won. Jason Kelce, for sure. I mean, second favorite, right up there. Third one, man, I don't know. This is so difficult because you limit it. The first 2 are easy. Let me just say that. First 2, Jason Kelce, Brian Dawkins, those are easier. Third one, man, I don't know. I might go with... I was trying to think, do I want to go with someone like the current team or someone that's, past? I might have to go with Mr. BDN himself. I think I would probably do that. Like, I have obviously I think we all do. We have a big appreciation for Nick Foles and what he did. But yeah, like, I don't know, just kind of his personality and same like character and what he brings to the table. I'd probably want to have him on there. But yes, like I'm seeing a lot of the others. It's impossible to choose all the others because like, Brian Westbrook was the first poster that I owned. McNabb was the first jersey that I had. Joseph and Chuck Bednarik, Eric Allen, Reggie White. I mean, Reggie White's totally understandable. You want to have him on there. It's endless. You could go with anybody. I see the Kramer comment. I was late getting that, but yeah, trade to get Bradberry and a second to get Edgerrin Cooper. Come on. It would be great. It would be fun. Get your linebacker. Yeah, that's who I'm going with, though. So, anyway, appreciate you guys. If you've not already, hit the like button, subscribe. Y'all are the best. You know that. More videos coming soon. Probably tomorrow, around lunchtime-ish will be most likely one coming out. And then, again, got the giveaways coming. A.J. Brown jersey, Friday night hangout. Also, the 2 regular season Eagles tickets, assuming that Doug Simmons just does not claim them for some reason. So we've not had that happen yet. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys as always, like I say. And until next time, go Birds.